gate from both players. Puck is gonna be in trouble with that worker if he sticks around for much longer with that chrono boosted Stalker coming out now. Units wise, we do see Tetragon having a 2 probe lead on his opponent Puck. However, both players are at identical supply, with Tetragon now gaining a 3 advantage very quickly. As I say that, thank you very much. With 21 probes to 19. Now if we look at the income tab, it's not making an amazing difference, but it's just enough to keep him in the lead. He does have more workers running around, and it's interesting. So as we can see, he is able to irk out an advantage in the minerals most of the time. We do see the proxy pylon coming down for Puck. It's interesting placement. Most people try to go for the pylon down here to reach up there. We do see a gathering of stalkers here to fend off what is currently only a Stalker and Zealot. Now, the gateway differences are Tetragon at 3 and Puck at now 4, as in 2 are spawning right now. So if Puck was to spawn 4 Stalkers, he might actually be able to put quite a lot of pressure on Tetragon. However, Tetragon could not spawn Stalkers immediately, given he does not yet have a warp gate technology. So this is going to be quite interesting. I'll be interested to see if Puck decides to warp in a couple of units behind enemy lines and push out. No, it appears he's just going to warp in units at his base to make a impassable defense by Tetragon's current forces. So both players now realizing that their opponent was doing the exact same strategy as them, and now just kind of playing it a bit safe. Puck does currently have the army advantage, this being because he did have the gateways up immediately with Warp Gate faster than Tetragon. So we do see a Twilight Council now coming out for Puck and a robotics facility now coming out for Tetragon. However, Tetragon is now getting a robotics base, so we do see Colossi in the horizon, I suspect. Kind of hard not to suspect that. You don't really get anything else out of it. Tetragon is going to be pretty rock solid with this force. A little smaller one by Puck with a sentry. This sentry will just mean nothing can get up the ramp. It won't actually be... Never mind, they both have a sentry, so nothing is getting up either of their ramps. We do see an observer heading out for Tetragon, going to be able to get some good scouting info, see that Twilight Council. We do see Blink on the way for Puck. That's going to be quite important. We'll see how he uses that, probably to try and get up past this choke point very quickly. It's going to be interesting. He won't actually be able to gain sight up here if Tetragon is quick with his force fields. However, if he misses them, one Zealot could mean disaster for this wall. But on the other hand, a Colossus could put a big dent into Puck's current plans. We're just going to have to see what happens. He is able to warp in units right here. This observer, I'm actually going to check a little bit. Let's just see. Let's just see if Tetragon did notice that army. I will be interested to see his... Now, he could not have seen it. It might have just been watching the minimap, but I'd like to see if his camera did fall onto that army during that period. He does have the observer hotkey, so it is a distinct possibility. We can start seeing the observer passing that army fairly soonish, I think, or maybe they just completely pass each other by. Maybe my head was in the clouds. No, we do see one blue dot. Okay, so they pretty much did not notice. However, he did see another 2 dots and is now coming back to see what the hell was going on. He is now heading forward, however. So like I said, at the moment, what's going to happen is really dependent on how fast Tetragon is able to get this force field down. If he can get that force field down before a Zealot comes up the wall and then get a Colossi out, this fight is going to be in his advantage. But Puck needs to utilize this blink to get rid of that force field. And we do see that force field coming up instantly. That is very good for Tetragon. He is warping in No, he's not walking in anything. He is able to get that second force field up. Very, very important. He now has a Colossus. This is going to be bad for Puck. Very, very bad for Puck. However, Puck should be able to use Blink Micro to see if he can counter it. We'll see what happens. If he's able to blink up, no, I think he's just going to run away. I think Puck is not even going to try his chances. He's just going to leave. We'll see what happens. Another Colossus is coming out for Tetragon. He needs to act quickly if Puck wants to be able to attack this force. A couple of Colossi and he's just not going to be able to do anything. He's putting down a robotics facility now, so maybe we're going to see Colossus versus Colossi. We'll see what happens. We do see range coming out for Tetragon. That will be very important. I am interested to see what this Zealot is doing. It's probably just making sure nothing leaves to his base. However, Tetragon does seem to suspect something and is going to go have a look. Tetragon now pushing out with quite a large force. It is a bit weak to air, but I'd say he can feel fairly safe that there's no air on the way. He does have reasonably good sight over his opponent's base. The only thing he's missing is the robotics facility and 2 pylons. Neither player going for an expansion yet, which is interesting to say the least. Most gold games will have put an expansion down at about the 10-minute mark. We are going to see a base trade scenario as Puck decides to push into his opponent's base just as his opponent leaves. Will Tetragon decide to turn around or base race? No, we do see a base race coming. This range could be very, very crucial, and if one worker gets out and places a pylon, that could be bad for Puck and vice versa. However, we do see quite a lot more than one worker getting out, and Tetragon is currently the one in a position to make a Nexus, and Puck really isn't, so Puck could be in big trouble in that regard. If range does finish, which he has Chrono Boost, that could also be a large advantage. We do see Tetragon leaving behind a pylon. This has now brought him below the 400 mineral mark, so he is in trouble if anything happens. I believe he warped in a couple of units or something. I don't know why he was at 800 minerals. So, okay, I get it. He had shift queued a Nexus, so he's doing alright, and he is going to be able to kill his opponent, I believe, because his opponent does not have enough money for this Nexus. No, wait, he does have enough money for a Nexus. He has taken a Nexus in Tetragon's own base. However, this is not good because he does have sight of it, and Tetragon knows where his opponent's expansion is, but his opponent doesn't know where his expansion is. And at the moment, that's a massive advantage to Tetragon. So I'll be interested to see what happens. Puck is at a 1 pylon advantage. Both players have a Nexus, and Puck has a pylon. However, we do see 3 pylons on the production overlay for Tetragon. So Tetragon trying to get back into positive supply as fast as possible. We do see a couple of stalkers heading out around the map. Gonna see what's what, where's where, and Puck now discovering where his opponent's base is. However, this army is going to intercept, and that's not going to be good for Mr. Puck. I think Mr. Puck is in real trouble right now. Not going to be able to do much or anything. He is fending, running away, but I don't think he's going to... His army is under sight from Tetragon. I think Tetragon has a massive advantage here and is going to be able to pick off this Stalker. It is, however, heading for this base, and there is a lot of Blink Stalkers, but there's no upgrades advantage either way, so I think it's going to come down to these 2 Colossi and their range. They are standing up on this high ground. This is going to give them a massive advantage. They are just going to be able to sit there and beam away at Puck's army. We do see them blinking back. Very, very nice Blink Micro, but not enough. He does not have the workers. He's not really mining, and Puck and Tetragon is now mining. We look at the income overlay, we can see the massive difference, 0 to 600. I think this is spelling GG for Mr. Puck. I don't actually see what he can do. However, stranger things have happened. He has managed to pick off a large amount of units. I'm just going to pause and look at the units lost. I haven't brought this one up much. So we can see units lost wise, it's about even. Tetragon is in the lead, but not amazingly so. We're just going to unpause it. Puck using quite nice blink micro, getting these units away from each other, trying desperately to stop the Colossi's splash damage from dealing as much damage as possible. And it's come down to this, it's come down to these couple of units. 4 Stalkers versus 2 Colossus. The one advantage I think that Tetragon does have, however, is that his workers could kill these 3 Stalkers if they got trapped. But no, this isn't going to happen. I think Puck just lost his army, and that's GG. I think that was the point where Puck left the game. This is Keno DVT, bringing you a game between Tetragon and Puck. Very, very good base trace scenario. I have Tetragon coming out on top with his Colossus. This is Keno DVT, signing off.